Hey everyone, Chef Bryan here, cooking fresh with Klondike Brands, and I've got a great au gratin recipe for you today. Now you all know how you do au gratins generally in a little 9x13 pan, but I'm going to show you a twist on it today that turns them into towers, and we're going to top it off with a roasted red bell pepper sauce. You're going to love it, your family's going to love it, and it's going to be a featured dish on the table to come. So let's get started. Today's recipe may appear to be a little complicated, but trust me, it's really pretty easy. All you need is a few simple ingredients like some roasted bell peppers, and I'll show you how to do that, so don't panic. Also, I have a little bit of Swiss cheese. I just grated up some olive oil, garlic, and onion. I have some dried thyme. There's a little bit of Gouda cheese, some smoked Gouda cheese, which is, oh, it's so good in the sauce. Sour cream, salt and pepper to your own taste, a little bit of cream, and of course some aluminum foil. And in the au gratins, I'm going to be using the Klondike Gold Dust because of the color. It's so beautiful. Has the golden outside and of course the golden creamy texture on the inside. It's perfect for these au gratin potatoes. I'm going to use a little ramekin like this. It's a little higher than some ramekins that you may have seen, but this is going to give me my individual portioning so that when I invert it, it kind of has that nice little tower look that I want to show you in the presentation at the very end. To create an au gratin potato, it's very simple. There are a couple of keys though that I want to point out. I've sliced up the Klondike Gold Dust potato here, and it's very thin, and this is important because then you can get more layers in there and it cooks a little more evenly and is easier to cut with your fork. So let's start with a potato layer on the bottom, and this is the same if you're doing it in a big 9x13 pan or in the ramekins like this. You always start by building layers with an au gratin potato. So there's the bottom layer of potatoes, and then to that I'm going to add a little bit of sprinkling of Swiss cheese. There we go. And salt and pepper. Salt and pepper is one of those ingredients that you need to adjust your own dietary needs. So if you like a little bit more, put a little bit more or less, however you like. So a little bit of salt and a little bit of pepper. And then I'm going to put another layer of potatoes. And kind of press down as you go, because you want to compact that in there. There we go. I just think these are so beautiful, the colors. And you don't even have to do anything to them. They're already there. A little bit of Swiss cheese, and this will be our last layer. Always end with a little bit of cheese on top. There we go. Press it down. And then all I do, and I know some people will make up a bechamel sauce or something like that to add into it. I just add heavy cream. So just pour heavy cream right into the ramekin until you can see it start to come up the edge, until it's just about to the top of the ramekin. And this is the same with anything, even if you're doing it in a 9x13 pan, you just want to do that. But a tip, you don't want to use milk in this because it'll curdle. So just use heavy cream and you'll have a nice finished product. Just take some aluminum foil, make sure that's nice and pressed down, and then you're going to just cover that with aluminum foil. Otherwise, the cheese is going to brown too quickly and your potatoes won't be done. So about the last 10 minutes, you can remove it if you want that cheese to get nice and brown. So let's put this into the oven. All right, that's going to cook in the oven now for about an hour or so. You can check it about the last 10 minutes, remove the foil if you want to brown off the top of the au gratin potato. So it's as easy as that. Love au gratin potatoes because of the cream. But I want to put together this sauce, which is really delicious with this. But we need to do a few little techniques here and talk about roasting some red peppers here. And all I do to roast them, just take a regular red pepper here. And if you have a gas range, you can do it right in your home, or you can do it on the grill outside, or you can actually do it under the broiler for that matter. So you just take the oven or the gas range, take some tongs, you're going to put this literally right over the flame, just like that. You're going to start to hear some popping and some sizzling as it's burning the outside of the pepper, and that's exactly what you want it to do. Now this is what they look like when they're ready after you've put them in the plastic sack, let them sweat, and then all I do is cut the tops right off. That reveals the seed pocket inside, just remove it. And then cut the pepper right in half. Move that out of the way. And this is what you want to do, is just to lay it flat out on your cutting board. Take your knife and then just scrape off that charred skin, and you have a roasted bell pepper. And you actually save a lot of money doing it this way. You can buy these in the store. They're already in oil. If you choose to do that, use the oil that's in the can or the bottle, however you buy them. Once you get them all ready to go like this, take them, cut them into strips, put them together, and then you're just going to dice them. And it doesn't really matter the size on this because we're going to puree this sauce and make it nice and smooth. So let's chop this one. There we go. Okay, now I have a hot saute pan here. I'm going to add a little bit of oil. There we go. Let's add in our chopped onions. Oh, I hope you can hear that sizzling. That's what I want. Let's put in our garlic, and I'm not going to worry about garlic burning because if you add it too soon, it can burn because I'm going to add the bell peppers, and so it's going to help really regulate that. There we go. Let's add in our roasted bell peppers. And I'm using red bell peppers for the color. If you wanted to, you really could use green. And let's saute these up. Now what I'm doing is really creating wonderful flavors with this aroma now. To this, I'm going to add a little bit of thyme. This is just some dried thyme. You could use fresh thyme if you have it. A little bit of basil. Immediately that thyme aroma just really comes up from there, makes it exciting. Now, the way that we're going to actually make this thick, we're not going to add any starches to it. We're going to use some heavy cream. Now, when you cook down heavy cream, it thickens itself. And so this is the key to this sauce. So once you've sauteed this for a little bit, it becomes very fragrant, very aromatic. We're going to add our cream. Perfect. And let's bring this up to a boil. Now, while I'm just waiting this to get to the perfect point, I want to tell you I have a food processor here, and this is how we're going to actually puree this to make it nice and smooth. A little word of caution. When you are pureeing liquids that are hot, you want to be very careful because when it starts moving, those liquids expand. And if you have too much liquid in a blender or a food processor, it can really come out and it can burn you. So just be really careful about that when you are blending up sauces that you want to puree. So let's just add that right into that food processor. And you can use a blender if you don't have a processor at home, but just do it in batches. Ooh, I can begin to smell those au gratin potatoes in the oven. It smells good. And let me just show you. Let's puree this up. And just kind of look on the edge of the bowl here and see exactly how far it is. You want to make sure it's nice and smooth because it's the sauce. You don't want chunky pieces in it. All right, this is ready to go. So let's take it and put it back into the saucepan. And what we're going to do is actually just finish cooking it off and melt in the Gouda cheese as well as some sour cream. Just love that. It's a beautiful orange-red color, and it just will go so awesome with the gold dust color, the Klondike gold dust. So there goes the smoked Gouda. A little bit of sour cream. Now we're just going to simply stir this a little bit. Being careful, you don't want to slosh it at this point. Stir in that sour cream and let the Gouda cheese melt. Don't worry about all the foam. You may see a lot of foam on top of the sauce. That's just fine because it's going to settle down. All right, this looks great. The sauce is done. The cheese is melted into it. Let me just move some of this to the side here. There we go. And if you're seeing that paper towel, that's a great way to keep your cutting boards from slipping around. Just simply wet it, put it down, and put your cutting board right on top of it. All right, and I have one here that I finished already, and I've turned it upside down on a plate. And what you want to do, as soon as it comes out of the oven, obviously it's going to be too hot to touch. So let it cool down for about 10-15 minutes, then invert it onto a plate. You may need to cut around the ramekin a little bit to help it come out. But once you do, just simply lift it up. There you go. And you have this beautiful little tower of potatoes. I think that just looks so fun for a twist on an au gratin. All right. So here's the sauce. And you can see how beautiful that orange is going to go right on there. Just kind of drizzle it over there. There we go. And I'm going to put a little bit of freshly chopped parsley right on top. And because there's basil in the sauce, I'm going to tie it all together with a fresh little leaf of basil right on top. Oh, it's a perfect Klondike Gold Dust tower here, a little twist on the au gratin with a roasted red bell pepper sauce. It's delicious. I'm Chef Bryan, cooking fresh with Klondike brands, and I look forward to sharing more Klondike family recipes with you all in the future. I'll see you next time.